really, this is going to sound silly, but this is really, really important cutting-edge genetics. One of the areas I'm really lucky I'm blessed to work in 3 distinct areas of biology: immunology, genetics, and reproduction. And on the genetics side, I get to go to conferences and hear about advances in genetics in all species. And I was just at one a couple of weeks ago down at the Cold Spring Harbor Lab in Long Island, and I learned a bit about what's being known about the genome of Neanderthals, the genetic makeup of Neanderthals. The genome sequencers, led by Svante Pabo, who works in Germany, has taken tiny little fragments of Neanderthal bones, isolated DNA, and determined the genome of the Neanderthal, and used that information to determine, using genetic methods, how long ago Neanderthals and humans were a single species, where the common ancestor was. They've also been able to compare human genomes and ask the question of whether there's any evidence of Neanderthal genes in the human genome. And they found that there is. And the amount is quite significant, upwards of 5 to 7%. Neanderthals used to live in the Neander Valley. You could have called it the Cayuga Lake Basin, but that's where they lived. And out of Africa came the modern humans, and the word the geneticists use is admixed. They admixed with the Neanderthals. And they all used to live in caves in those days like this. Came out of Africa, admixed with the Neanderthals. This was the Neanderthal territory. There was another group of Neanderthal-like creatures called the Denisovans. They lived up here in Siberia, and they have their genome has been sequenced. They were distinct from the Neanderthals. And so you can find in people of European and Asian ancestry evidence of about 7%, 5 to 10% of your genome is common with that of Neanderthals. We've been separated from them for 30,000 years or so. And in some of the tribes in Papua New Guinea and those islands out there, there's evidence for a different kind of genome, which is probably the Denisovan genome. And they might have 7% Neanderthal and 5% Denisovan. So they might be 12 or 15% different from us. And in fact, the Africans who came out from Africa have no evidence of any Neanderthal genes in them. No evidence of admixture. So they're the real pure humans. Homo sapiens. Really, really interesting, and it gives you a lot to think about.
Located between the border of Spain and France is the Pyrenees mountain range. The people that occupy this isolated region are known as the Basque, and they have long confounded anthropologists and historians. The language spoken by the enclave is not related to any other in that part of the world. And the population also has the highest concentration of Rh-negative blood type in the world.
Up to 35% of Basque people have Rh-negative blood. And Rh-negative blood is one of the most unusual blood types. And it's the one blood type that is least likely to mutate or interact with other blood types.
Human blood types are grouped into 4 distinct designations that include O, A, B, and AB. Additionally, there is another variance between blood types known as the Rh factor, or rhesus factor, which is a measure of rhesus-based antigens in the blood.
Most humans in the world are rhesus positive.
%85 of humans in the world are Rh positive and have no issues receiving blood from positive or negative donors. But for the Rh negative population, receiving Rh positive blood may be fatal, as the body will try to destroy the foreign antigens. And for women that are Rh negative, mating with an Rh positive partner could be detrimental to the fetus.
If a rhesus positive and a rhesus negative parents were to have an offspring, there is a potential danger to the offspring because these two blood types can't interbreed, basically. Medical intervention is needed. It's why, actually, in the past, people had to have a blood test before they were allowed to get married.
The very fact that an Rh negative mother, her body would actually try to kill an Rh positive baby generates bizarre scenarios. How on earth could this happen? It suggests somewhere in our lineage that the Rh negatives and the Rh positives are perceived as being profoundly different. And also, studies of Rh negatives suggest that they have lower than normal blood pressure, lower than normal pulse. In a number of cases, they have an extra vertebra in their back.
Rh negative is very rare. Most of the world didn't have it until colonization started in the 15th century. Rh negative didn't exist in the Americas, it didn't exist in Southern Africa, it didn't exist in Asia. It was only in Europe, so it spread out from there. Out of Africa, that theory has it that all human beings originated in Africa, Southern Africa, Sub-Sahara. They're all Rh positive. They don't have any Rh negative. Where did Rh negative evolve then?
And scientists have no idea where it came from. What they do believe is that if you have that, you may have been evolved from a different kind of species on this planet. Now, was that species put here? Genetically altered? Who knows? But the fact is that Rh negative people, and again, there's 15% of them on this planet, may have come from outside sources.
Could the Rh negative blood type offer evidence of a vastly different pre-human evolution than what we are led to believe in our history books?